The Austin American-Statesman had an investigative story where they dug into what the actual costs are that we do know about fracking, building out the infrastructure for these vastly expanded working spaces where suddenly we have a lot of jobs coming in, which means a lot of workers, which means a lot of wear and tear on the roads and everything else, have to grow the schools. And everybody talks about the great deal of money that fracking is generating to the state coffers, yet it doesn't seem that all that money is really covering what the actual costs are, much less what if there are unknown costs. So what should we do to prepare ourselves for the unknowns?
Yeah. It really goes to, again, the short-sightedness of our state policy making in this state for the last 2 decades or so. To have a rainy day fund that swells, has been swelling immensely over the last couple of legislative cycles, knowing that that swelling is due to the receipts that we are getting from the oil and gas community and industry, but then not to then turn that money around and use it to support the industry that is creating that resource is short-sighted. I think instead the current administration here in Texas is more interested in pointing to that stack of money and saying, "Hey, look, we didn't spend your money," and then bragging about it to their groups in the primary on the other side, as opposed to using that money to then reinvest into those communities. What I would do as railroad commissioner is be an advocate for indexing any increase in oil and gas receipts and tying an index that directly is dedicated to a fund that helps those local counties absorb some of those unintended consequences and the costs related to infrastructure. Not only because of the inconvenience of having the big heavy trucks drive down those roads, and trust me, I've been to the Eagle Ford Shale, and I've driven down those very same short, narrow roads with all those big trucks, and not only is it not safe, but the damage it does to your alignment is real, right? So I know from firsthand experience that that those roads are in disrepair. But what we can do as from my bully pulpit of being a railroad commissioner is being able to go down to the state capitol next session, working with those county judges, those hospital districts, those local sheriffs who are dealing with the inconvenience of what's happening in their communities and the growth that's happening in their communities, the school boards as well, and fighting for an index that we can relate a percentage of increase from the tax receipts and have that be applied directly to those communities. I think that will also save some lives as well, because we've also seen a spike in roadway deaths in those areas as a result of the heavy congestion and the big trucks and things of that nature. And I think we can do better to prevent human lives from being lost and making sure that those roads are wide enough, broad enough to be able to support the increased traffic that they're experiencing.